to take you through some of these things. So can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, so as the timer, I'll make sure that we proceed to the different rounds within time. We have a slightly different setup today, so especially would like to address that. But before that, I would like to mention that for all the speakers, please tag my screen as I'll be using these cards. So green, yellow, and red. I hope you were able to see all three. So because we had some issues in the previous meeting, so if you will tag my screen, it will always be visible to you. So moving on to the times itself. So we have a panel discussion today, as we mentioned, and so uh, it will be a 20 to 40 minute discussion, and green at 20 minutes, then yellow at 30 minutes, and red at 35 minutes, and finally gray period of 5 minutes. And for the table topics, we all know that we proceed with 1 minute, 1.5 minutes.
Toastmaster Saurabh, sorry to interrupt you in the middle. Your voice is cracking up a bit. I request you.
I can try to be louder, I think. Is it better now?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, these are the times for the table topics. I'll repeat that. I guess I was not audible. So 1 minute, 1.5 minutes, and 2 minutes with 30 seconds grace on top. And for the evaluators, since we have a panel discussion, so instead of the usual evaluation time, we are providing a time of 3 to 5 minutes and a 30 minutes grace period. And we have a new role today, table topics evaluator, which has been suggested from one of the joint meetings that we had. And we have given a good time of 5 to 7 minutes for this with a grace period of 30 seconds. So yeah, over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Saurabh, for explaining your role. Next up, I request Toastmaster Lavina, our grammarian, to please introduce her role.
Thank you, Toastmaster Deepti. So I am Toastmaster Lavina. I would be playing the role of the grammarian today. As a grammarian, I would look carefully to through the entire meeting, listen to the speakers, and point out any good usages and not so good usages of English language. Also, it is my duty to share the word of the day, and I would be posting that in the chat. The word of the day is anachronism. That means when an event or a person is placed at the wrong point in time. The usage can be, he is so old-fashioned. He's so old-fashioned that people treat him like an anachronism. I would be also posting the same in the chat. And I encourage all the people, all the joinees to try to use the word of the day throughout the call. Thank you, and over to you, Toastmaster Deepti.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Lavina. Moving on to the R counter, Toastmaster Disha.
Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I am counters for today's meeting. My role as the counter is to count the number of unnecessary sounds and filler words such as like, and these are the words that hamper the effectiveness of the speech. I will be observing and taking on notes on such words and will present my report at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you for making it crisp and clear for us, Toastmaster Disha. The General Evaluator's report will be presented towards the end in the General Evaluation section. Now I take over back as the Toastmaster of the day. Well, let's move on to our first section, which is about the prepared speeches. So let's play a quick guessing game. Our Toastmaster, who's in the role of a speaker today, is someone who says that he enjoys living a portfolio life, a writer, trainer, teacher, and Toastmaster. Being Toastmaster is his passion. Project management at the Macquarie Bank is his profession. And a degree of MBA, MSc is his education. Well, yes, the speaker in the role of a chief moderator today is Toastmaster Mohit. But before I invite Toastmaster Mohit on the virtual podium, let me call upon and introduce his evaluator. The second part of the guessing game for you. This evaluator is our Toastmaster, who's a musician by passion and one who makes doing virtual events with renowned filmmakers seem like a cakewalk. He hosts Toastmasters events at club and district levels with equal ease. He's a software engineer by education and a manager at Sienna by profession. We are delighted to have him as an evaluator for the much-awaited panel discussion today. He is none other than Toastmaster Diptendu Ahuja. Toastmaster Diptendu, I'd like to invite you to the virtual stage so that you can share the objectives for Toastmaster Mohit's project today.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Deepti. So today, Toastmaster Mohit is going to be a moderator in a panel discussion. And the project objectives are for Mohit to apply his skills as a public speaker and leader to facilitate a panel discussion. During the completion of the project, Mohit would have spent time planning the panel discussion on a topic, and today he will be organizing the same discussion, and he has invited 3 panelists for the same. The panel discussion should be a well-organized and well-moderated event which will count towards the completion of this project. Mohit should consider how the member sets the tone, should keep the panelists on topic, field questions from attendees, and generally run the panel discussions. So these are the high-level objectives of the project Mohit is attempting today. Wishing Mohit the very best, and before handing it over, the panel discussion's time duration is going to be 20 to 40 minutes. So the green signal will be shown at 25 minutes. Okay, correct me here. The green signal should be shown at 25 minutes or 30 minutes. Mohit, you could probably...
I will inform that.
Sorry.
TM. So the green signal is at 20 minutes, yellow at 30 minutes, and red at 35 minutes.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Saurabh, for helping me with that. And with this, we will hand the virtual stage back to the TMOD, Toastmaster Deepti.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Diptendu. Well, let's start. Let's start by inviting Toastmaster Mohit on the virtual podium. Toastmaster Mohit, we would like to do a quick audio-video check with you. And for this audio-video check, I'd like you to give me a high five and tell me one fun fact about you.
Okay, hi Deepti, thank you. One fun fact about me is that I write 750 words every day.
Wow, thank you for letting us know that. That might well be a good tip for the budding writers in this community today. Thank you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, and my dear Toastmasters, let me take a pause of deep breath and move on to introducing our guests of honor today. Our first guest has a dynamic and a vivacious attitude. Let me first spotlight her. A Toastmaster of several years, she's been pivotal in playing a variety of XCOM roles, being an editor-in-chief, emceeing of myriad district level events. And those of you who attended the ATM or the All Toastmasters Meet last year would vouch for the thunder she created there. And the list goes on and is endless. She's an engineer by education and today a writer by passion. author of not one, but 3 books. My Anxiety Has a Name, Ye 22 Saal Ka Budhapa, and The Candid Opinions. Let's join our hands to welcome Ishani Luthra. Our second guest today. Let me also add him to our podium. Our second guest today has had a long association with our club. And in case you're wondering what the association is, well, my dear Toastmasters, you'll be reveled to know that it is homecoming for him today. He was the founder president of this very club, a table topics champ in his own right. It's always been a delight to hear him speak. An experienced commercial litigation and disputes lawyer by profession, a fitness enthusiast, and someone who believes that everyone has an author. Everyone can be an author. And he has authored a book called Monk Your Mind. Let's join our hands together to welcome Rohan Batra. Let me add Rohan to the spotlight today. Last, not the least, this Toastmaster is a thorough disciplinarian, an influential YouTuber, and a veteran Toastmaster of several years. A perfect example of someone who aspires to grow himself and inspires his fellow Toastmasters to grow equally. An auditor of more than 30 years by profession, currently working with the automotive industry. Someone who has spearheaded development, deployment, and assessment of quality management systems with equal ease. He is an author of the book called The Power of Self-Talk. Let's welcome on the virtual podium, Toastmaster Bhavya Mangla. And here I go, adding Bhavya to our virtual podium. So dear Toastmasters, here's the excitement for today, which is totally a buzz. And thank you for joining in the cheer. Let's not make you wait any longer and do a quick audio video check for our panelists. Dear Ishani, please could you unmute and wave at me and quickly share what is the secret superpower you have?
The fact that I don't want to stop writing ever. I think that's one of my superpowers.
Absolutely rocking. Thank you for that. Dear Rohan, please could you unmute, wave your hand at me, give me a high five. Yeah. And also share your superpower.
Having the ability to control my thoughts.
That's interesting, having the ability to control your thoughts. Thank you. Dear Bhavya Mangla, please unmute. Yes, hi. Thank you for being proactive and share your superpower.
Consistency.
Awesome. Consistency. So dear Toastmasters, those are 3 tips that you might want to note down. Writing every day, being consistent, and having the power to control your thoughts. Over to you, Toastmaster Mohit.
Thank you, Toastmaster Deepti. Let's have a round of applause for all our wonderful, wonderful panelists. I'm super excited to be here and I can't wait to jump into this discussion. And before we start, I would once again remind you all, I'm Mohit Sahni. I belong to the Toastmasters Club of Storytellers, and I'm moderating this panel discussion. The reason we are having this discussion is so that we can go through the journeys of published authors. So we have amazing published authors today, and collectively they've written 5 books actually. This journey directly relates with our audience, and our audience is the members and all our friends and guests of Toastmasters Club of Storytellers who are here to listen to all of you. We call ourselves the storytellers, and our audience shares a common dream of one day, someday being able to publish our own story. And who better to have in the panel today than published authors? So a huge clap for all of you once again. And let's do that. Yes. One more time. Yes. And for our audience, I would like to reiterate, we are actually here for you. So this is your chance to learn from the published authors. So don't hesitate to ask any questions that you have. I've already done some free work and collected questions that I got from the audience, just so our panelists know. And that is what I would be going through in the journey. But if you have, as audience, any question that comes up, just put it on the chat box. And I'll do my best to keep an eye on the chat messages and pick up that question as well. I've divided this panel discussion into 5 segments, and I'll jump into the first segment, which is about the very basic question about where did the idea come from? Right? The first segment is inspiration and idea generation. So let me start by asking Rohan. Right? So Rohan, we've all dreamed of being an author or writers, and sometimes I wonder whether I want to have a book with my name written on it, or is there an idea that is like really oozing out of me to share with the world? What was it like for you? Was it the fact that you wanted to share something which was inside of you, or was it that you wanted to be a writer and have a book with your name as author on it?
Sure. First of all, thank you everyone for having me as part of this panel. Toastmaster Mohit, seeing you and Toastmaster Deepti handle this club extremely well makes me proud that you guys have done more than justice to bringing this club to the level where it is today. And as Toastmaster Deepti said, it is truly homecoming for me. Now, to answer your question, I would like to be very blunt today about my ambitions, the ideas and the motivations for writing the book. I've always had a thought of writing the book. And the thought emanates from our environmental conditioning. You see someone holding a book with their name on it. It gives you a sense of pride. It's cool. Some people say it's one of the ways of passive income. For me, I explored all these motivations. But what stuck with me was the idea of helping people. I've had my fair bit of struggles in life, and that journey taught me one thing, that we often do not communicate our life lessons with each other. Some of us get caught in it, some of us are able to come out of it. And those who are able to come out of it, I believe it's a bounden duty to share those life lessons with each one of us, because you never know how those life lessons might help somebody else. The reason why I wrote the book is because I've realized during COVID, life is not short, but very precarious. You never know when the switch flips up. So the reason why I wrote the book is so that if tomorrow I'm not there, at least my book is there to convey my thoughts and ideas, and maybe that helps somebody else.
Thank you, Rohan, for such a beautiful insight, and definitely, a legacy that you want to maintain is what you think is what it is. What about you, Ishani? What was your reason?
Before I tell you the reason, I must say I've been willing to come to this club for months now. I think you and Toastmaster Deeptendu, we have been constantly inspiring me to attend a meeting. So here I am. And also about the introductions, I didn't expect the introductions to be this amazing. So thank you for that, and thank you for having me here. I think to answer your question, I think for me, it's been both ways. I started writing back in college. I used to share whatever I used to write through blogs and now, like a few years ago, through Instagram as well. My books took place after I published a few of those poems on Instagram. So I think for me, it's been both ways. Of course, as Toastmaster Rohan just mentioned, that it's the idea of seeing your name on a book as well, right? Someone holding your book. Although all those three are ebooks, but I'm soon willing to have published copies in physical formats. But it's that idea, it's that dream that to be a damn good writer, so that people know your writings and people are inspired by it, even if it's just one word or one line or one poem or one chapter in an entire book. But at the same time, it also goes the other way around, that it was not just the thought of having your name on a physical book, but also the fact that our words have the ability to inspire people. And to quote J.K. Rowling, words are a most inexhaustible source of magic, capable of both inflicting injury and remedying it. So it's that thought process that goes behind it. I think both the things have played a part in the 3 publications.
Great, thank you, Ishani.
I hope that answers the question.
Absolutely, it more than answers the question, actually. And Toastmaster Bhavya, what about you?
Well, what should I say? Well, actually, my grandfather had written many books. My father has written many books. So maybe something was always there in my mind. And when somebody suggested that when I'm planning to write a book, then I don't know, the idea was that when I am old. So the point was that how old, somewhere, sometime you have to start doing that. So from there, actually the thought started that, okay, I think the time has come to write and try and challenge myself. Talking about the topic, again, it was like this, that there were so many things which I was thinking that I should write about. But then I realized that one thing which was very close to me for almost 20 years was self-talk, what I was doing it with myself, and that was helping me a lot. So I decided that out of so many topics which I'm taking, something which I've experienced myself and which has helped me a lot in my life journey so far, in my professional life and personal life, let me try and write something on that. And that's how the journey started. So this is the way it all started here. And I think Mohit, 11 years. So I think Rohan has written 1 book, Ishani 3, I have 1, but I think you must have written more than 10 books. The only thing is that you're keeping it a secret with all of us. And hopefully very soon that secret will be out.
Thank you so much. Amazing, amazing answers. Some very honest answers there. So I think completely resonates with me personally, that although somewhere in the back of our mind, we want to have that name written as authors in a book, but then there is something more to that. There's something that we want to share. For Rohan, it is sharing something so to make the world a better place. For Ishani, it is her writing is her passion. So she's been writing all along. And for Bhavya, it is the inspiration that you got from your grandfather. That's amazing. All right. Okay. So we will continue and we segue into the second segment of our discussion, which is about the writing process and discipline. So at Toastmasters Club of Storytellers, we are running an initiative which we call as daily writing prompts. What that means is that we share a topic with everybody in the members to have something to write about. So it nudges them and encourages them to write, because we are all aware of a writer's block. I'm sure you've experienced it and you've had your own stories around it. We would really want to know, how did you have that writing process? How did you overcome that writer's block? And did you have one in the first place or not? I'll let Ishani go first this time.
I don't think there exists a writer who doesn't face a writer's block. If let's say 20% of what we are writing in a book is actual writing, 99% of that 20% is writer's block. And we are going to face it every single day. And I think Toastmaster Mohit, you and Toastmaster Bhavya, you've been writing consistently for years. I mean, Mohit, you write every day, Bhavya, you write every Sunday. You publish things every Sunday. I don't think there is any day that we don't face any writer's block, but what helps is the consistency that we have built with ourselves, right? The discipline that we have. It's like, it goes along with the job, right? That there are going to be certain disadvantages. And the one thing that has worked for me when it comes to writer's block is to constantly be on the go for words. I mean, whether it's in the form of writing or whether it's in the form of reading. Because when you read, you gather those ideas. So whenever I face a writer's block, I make sure that I stick to paper, and no matter how bad the output is, it's the process that I trust. So if I have a writer's block today, I might have the same writer's block tomorrow as well. But one day during the week, there would be that one single hour or those 5 minutes where my creativity would be at its best, and I would have actually defeated the writer's block that I generally face. That's what works for me.
Wonderful, Ishani. So you mentioned that you read a lot and you continue with your process of writing, no matter how bad
Right.
it is for you. And that actually takes me to a slightly different question, which I would like to ask Bhavya now, right? So what do you think, what are the inputs for you as a writer, right? Is it reading like Ishani, or is it something else? Where do you get your best ideas from?
I think it's a combination of many things. For me, the first and the foremost is the life experience. That what all different things I have seen, whatever is going in my mind, whatever I've seen other people are doing it, and how they challenge themselves and how they overcome certain things. So I think that is the best input that I generally used to have. And then apart from that, you keep on reading something, you meet different people. So from there you learn, and then it's a time of social media. So there's a lot of input that you get from YouTube. You listen to so many different videos. So all that combined together, and then it comes out like that. And this is the way in which it is for me.
Wonderful, thanks. So it's like get inputs from everywhere and then curate your content or curate your ideas to deliver something out to the world. Okay, and so slightly different question, but on the same lines, and this is for you, Rohan. So is there any specific skill set you think you have as a writer or somebody should have to be a good writer?
I would say there are two skills which are very important. One is a writer should be able to think a lot. Because as Bhavya pointed out, when you get inputs from your environment, from reading many books, observing people, life experiences, our mind should be able to distill it into something that we want to express. So an active mind which can really think through is, I believe, an important process and a skill. The second is, since we are writing in a language, we're not writing in vacuum. So a basic mastery of the language is extremely important. Whether it's Hindi, whether it's English, any vernacular language, the writer must be comfortable in it. There are ways to reach that level. That's why we have Toastmasters in the first place, to be comfortable with this language, to be able to articulate ourselves. So articulation, I think, is a very important skill, which can be developed, can be trained, and is very important for any writer, I believe, to thrive and flourish, or rather to get the idea across.
Wonderful. Thank you, Rohan. Yeah, I think those are like really the key skills that you pointed out. So thinking ability and improving your language. Amazing. Okay, so we are done with 2 sections now. I would like to urge our audience and remind them once again, if you have any questions, put them on the chat box. We've currently covered 2 segments, which is idea generation, that's number 1. And secondly, we've covered the writing process. If you have anything around these 2 topics that you would like to ask our esteemed guests, put it on the chat box. There's no right or wrong question, so just put it there. All right. With that, I would I see that Toastmaster Ishani has her books there as background. That's amazing. The Candid Opinions, Ye 22 Saal Ka Budhapa, and My Anxiety Has a Name. And I recently read, I think the newest one to publish his book among all three of you is Rohan, whose book is called Monk Your Mind. And I just recently finished reading, and I have to congratulate you, Rohan, and I have to say that it's an amazing book. And I have personally gathered so many insights, and I'm trying to apply all the message that you have in the book. And Bhavya has his book, like he mentioned, it's called The Power of Self-Talk. So I would again encourage our audience members to check out these books, and you can actually reach out to these authors as well. They are so close to you. Read the books, ask them questions now or later, but do that and it would really help you. Okay, we will segue into the next section, which is about overcoming the challenges and setbacks that we have in the process of writing the books. So I think these days, the latest thing that is coming up is artificial intelligence, and it is changing the way how we are thinking, and it's impacting our lives and our workplaces and even our personal lives. What is your take on artificial intelligence, and how do you think it will impact the book writers or authors who are aspiring to be one? I'll let Bhavya take a stab at it first.
Are you talking in context of ChatGPT or in general?
Yeah, ChatGPT, or even in general, ChatGPT and other AI tools, and how it will become a threat to writing, or it will be a friend for writers. What is your take on it?
I think we generally say the same thing earlier also, that whenever something new comes, it brings new challenges, new thoughts, new fears among the people. But again, end of the day, it all depends upon that how we are using a particular technology. So ChatGPT is also one of the new technology which has come, and it all depends upon us that how we are using it. We can use it in the right way, or we can use it in the wrong way also. Like I've heard, there are a few countries who have banned ChatGPT because they feel that it is creating some disorder in their country. So that's why it has been done. So from my perspective, end of the day, the most important thing is that whatever you're writing, whether it is touching the heart of the other people or not. Generally, you know, in the common language, it is said that when you say by your mouth, the ears listen, but when you say something with your heart, the other person's heart listens. So I think all these social media platforms like ChatGPT, maybe they can help to write something, but at the end of the day, unless and until there is a connection between the two people, whatever you're seeing, if it can make a connection, it is very difficult. And I want to link it with the writer's block, what Ishani was talking of, and because I also had gone through the same thing. So there again, you know, the question that always comes is when you're writing something that this thing has been written many times earlier. One more time, why anybody will be interested to read that, and what is so different that you're writing? But then, you know, end of the day, if you see in movies, there are 4 or 5 stories globally, and you'll find all the movies are based on that. Talking about latest Avatar, or maybe any Avenger movie, or maybe Titanic, or maybe any big blockbuster Indian movie. Only 4 or 5 stories, and you know, every month, every week, there is a new story which is coming up. But the important thing is that movie has a stamp of that particular director or that particular writer. Something similar is true with respect to the book writing also, irrespective of any AI medium. End of the day, the important thing will be that where is that person, where is the experience of that person, from where it is coming. That makes a difference, and if that can connect with other people, that makes a difference. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Toastmaster Bhavya. Yeah, Ishani, did you have anything to add to that?
No, I was just like making a quick, I've forgotten the word for this, so I think vocabulary is that challenge. But yeah, I was just It was a +1 to what Bhavya said.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. At the end of the day, we are all human beings, and we can use these tools to help us. And we want to still hear the human beings rather than bots, right? Okay, I have a question from the audience. I have to acknowledge the presence of distinguished Toastmaster Raj Mehta. Welcome, distinguished Toastmaster Raj Mehta. He has a question about writing habits, and he says that his writing habits are very irregular. He writes 2,000 to 10,000 words, but over a period of 6 months. How can one regulate it? I'll let Rohan talk about that.
No, that's an excellent question. In fact, I face this struggle a lot. But what might help, having an end goal. Just writing 2,000 or 10,000 words, or let's say 500 to 600 words a day, without the end goal in mind, in my personal view, may not help. It's important to have a deadline and rather larger goal to which or for which these words are being written. For example, if a dissertation is being written or someone's authoring a book for the first time, they must have a timeline by which they must complete it. And then it's important we work backwards. How many pages do we want to write? Let's divide that into number of words. Let's divide the number of words into number of days, and then develop a reading habit. That perhaps is a better way to approach, going backwards rather than regularly writing it. Unless it's someone's publishing it fortnightly or on a daily basis, it's a different matter. But if one is writing, in any case, it's important to have an end goal in mind and then work backwards.
Great. Thank you, Rohan, for sharing that. So it has to be a scientific, thought out process according to you. And I have more questions coming in from the audience. So let me take this one from Boni Mehra. He is himself into a lot of writing and editing. He does it for the district newsletter. And he has a question about how can one overcome prejudices and self-doubts of being judged. So I'll let Ishani take that question.
I'll start off with an example for this. When I started publishing on Instagram, the poems that I used to write, I had my comment section disabled for God knows how many poems. And it was simply because I was afraid of the criticism that I would receive. But the place we are at right now, this meeting, the whole idea behind Toastmasters is to help us be comfortable with that criticism, right? To receive the criticism in a positive manner and then face the real world, no matter how hard it is. For me, it took time. So I think that's my advice for everybody who thinks that criticism and prejudice might hamper. Try to give it time. Do everything that you can to avoid the criticism, but gradually when you're avoiding it, there will eventually come a time when you'll get comfortable with it. When that criticism won't even matter to you because your work is greater than the people who are criticizing you. And if you want some positivity for your work, show your work to your fellow Toastmasters. I don't think there is a place apart from your Toastmaster community or apart from your friends and family that provides you a criticism in a manner that it doesn't hurt. So that's what I did. I mean, I showed my work to people, a little bit of my work to people around, and I had my comment section disabled until I was comfortable with it. Now it's open. You can go out and comment anything that you want. But I think for me, it took time. So I think that's my piece of advice.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think in a way you are saying that one has to monk one's mind.
In a way, yes.
Okay, it's a lot of interest coming in from the audience, but I have to take the discussion forward. And the next segment we have is about revision and editing process. So as a novice writer, I personally have a lot of hesitation in showing my draft to others. What is your approach to that? Who do you show your work to, and how do you incorporate the feedback into your writing? I'll let Bhavya go for it first.
Okay, talking about myself, when I started writing my first book, I was in touch with one gentleman who sort of gave me confidence that yes, I can write. And he also gave me some suggestion. Even though in the beginning, I never followed that. But later on, after writing my first draft, I realized that I should have followed him. Like what Ron was talking about, that when you write something mindlessly, then and the end, you find it very difficult how to manage that. And that's what something happened with me. But then, that's why, my first draft was ready in, say, in 2 months. But then it took me almost a year to print that, because now what to do with that, that was a big challenge, because I was writing every day 500 words. And then, so it was something around 25,000 words. Now, how to manage that, how to make a flow, how to give a direction. So that was a big challenge for me at that time. So I think the best way, like I think what Rohan was also stating, is that we should first of all know what we are going to write about it. Then there should be a proper structure, like say if there are 10 chapters or 5 chapters. So we should write that, okay, chapter number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then in that also, if we can write some sub chapters, say again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if there can be some further. So it can be a painstaking process. It may take time, but then it makes the life very easy. Just like, you're drawing a map and then you're making a building, rather than you first make some building and then think that whether it is fitting the process or not. So I did that mistake in my first book. I'm taking care of that in my second book. And I think that has helped me a lot. I think I'm able to answer a little bit to what you are trying to ask.
Yeah, absolutely you are. But I also wanted to know, who do you bounce your ideas off with, right? Who would you review it with or get inputs from someone?
Yeah. So as I said that in the beginning, I found one gentleman, his name was Som Batla. So when I realized that, it's sort of a dead end and I'm not reaching anywhere. So then I connected with him and he gave me some suggestion. It's not that he told me to do this, but he gave me some idea that, okay, these are the certain ways in which you can do, this is the structure that you can follow. And then based on that, I did that. And then not only him, then there are many other people, maybe in house, maybe in Toastmasters, or there's different places where he kept on talking. And I used to get a lot of thoughts and ideas from there. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. What about you, Ishani? Who do you review your work with, or do you have to review at all?
I have to review my work, but for my first, so it's okay. So it's like, it's a very mixed answer. It's going to be. So like I mentioned, a few of my poems are released on Instagram. So I think the Instagram community was a reviewer. Then for my second book, I showed it to my parents because they are way better at Hindi than I am. And they were able to point out the mistakes. I took help from my English professor from college. He's also good in Hindi. So I took help from him. But it's mostly been, I think, because you've been writing for what, 8-9 years. I think at one point you become a reviewer yourself. So for these 3 books, I think that's been the case for me. However, the strategy I'm currently following for one of my novels is that I'm releasing 1 chapter every week. So people who are subscribed to that, sometimes they send in their reviews. So I think it's sort of been like a passive approach to getting my books reviewed. It's not having a proper editor assigned to it or a proper reviewer. It's been a mix of family and friends and some random people, random strangers I meet on the internet. So for me, it's been that way. It hasn't been an active approach.
Okay, great. So it's like you're using all the power that's available to you, including like crowdsourcing, getting the inputs from the social media. Fantastic. Okay, and that's actually quite interesting because one of the things that all 3 of you are saying is that there has to be a scientific process for writing the book, and not just go about writing and one day everything will come together automatically. That is something that will probably not happen, is what you are saying. So something for our audience to think about as well, to structure the entire thing and then work towards, progress towards completing your book. And you can always do iterations on top of that. Okay, I'll move on to the last segment of our discussion, which is about publishing and promotion. So with multiple options that are available today for publishing our work, which path did you choose? I'll let Rohan go first on that one.
Thanks, Mohit. See, compared to Ishani and Bhavya, I'm still a very novice writer. I was advised that it's better nowadays to have a Kindle edition published first. There were a couple of reasons. One, there is zero publication cost. If you can manage the process yourself, review the book, edit it, okay, take someone's help if you need to, but the publishing cost is zero. Amazon or Kindle doesn't charge you anything for uploading the book and making it available to everybody else. The charging only happens once there is a sale of the book. So that's one of the reasons why Kindle in that sense or an ebook was suggested as a good idea. The second reason why it was suggested a good idea is that because you're a debut author, you must also test the waters. The difference between a paperback and a soft publication is that the paperback entails a lot more cost. There's a lot more investment of money. And there is a chance that you may not be able to gauge the market once you've gotten your books published. So the better way of getting a feedback was to have it published on a larger platform like Amazon, like Kindle, get the feedback and then see, depending on the demand of the book or how people like it, to convert it into a paperback. I personally followed these two reasons why I went into Kindle publishing. Now, my own reasons now that I've realized after following this process is, in India, at least in the circle that we are in, we are still sort of getting used to the idea of a Kindle edition. While we're all reviewing stuff online, on tablets, on the computer, but we've not fully shifted into the digital era in terms of books. Perhaps that's good. And that is why people, in fact, my own parents, they would prefer a paperback. So I will suggest what I followed. And in fact, I think Ishani and Bhavya would be more experienced in answering this question. Start small, test the waters, because you're also new to the process, and then see if paper publication is something that you really want to get into. I'm currently in the process of getting a paperback done because I followed that path and I feel that it might be a good idea now to release it. But I started from that nascent idea of first launching the book, making it digitally available, and then taking the next step.
Fantastic. Thank you, Rohan, for sharing those insights. And I have a question. This is my own question, actually. So when it comes to digital, I think Ishani has all her books available on Kindle as well, if I am correct. I think Bhavya's books are available in Kindle as well as in the physical format, or is it?
Yeah, both.
Both formats. All right. So one question that I have, maybe anyone can answer it, right? When it comes to digital format, so how do you decide the pricing of the book? It is purely based on the demand, because there's no cost that, I mean, in terms of the supply, you have cost is not a parameter, right? Normally economics plays between supply and demand. So over here, supply is infinite in a sense, isn't it? So how is the price of the book determined? Anyone can go for it.
Ishani, please.
Okay, so I was waiting for that push. See, I think the first book I published was charged at $70. The second was at 100. The third is at 200, and the paperback that I'm willing to release is charged at 400. And it's the same paperback for which the ebook price was 70. For me, I think it's basically the fact that initially we don't value ourselves that much, and which is why we price our books at a very less amount. I mean, I have friends who have written brilliant books, which are like 15 pages long, 1.5, and it's an ebook, and the book is charged at 300. So I think it's our choice. And one more thing that we can look into is what the market standards are like. For example, there are publishing houses out there which print your books and distribute your books. and they have a minimum cost set. For example, this one printing house that I am currently in conversation with, the minimum price that you can keep for your book is, I think, 250 or 300. So you cannot price your book below 300 in that scenario. As for Amazon, I think the royalty factor counts a lot. I think for India, it's 35%, and for outside of India, it's 70%. So I think the fact that how much royalty will I be getting also became a factor into how I priced my books. So it started off with not valuing myself that much, now valuing myself very well, and also factoring in the amount of hard work that we do. So I think it's also a matter of choice. I think that's what I would go with.
Absolutely. Thank you. I wonder where else will we get those insights, Ishani? And those are like things that we would never know. Fantastic. And the good news is that we, as an audience, I get a chance to read such amazing content at a low price, especially for the authors who are starting out. And to be honest, I've read some books which are really, really good, and the authors are just debutant authors. So it's a win-win situation, I think, for audience as well to get amazing content, and for new authors to gain or gather ground in the process. Okay, we are running.
Can I add one point to it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So just like Rohan mentioned, right, it's about testing the waters. So if it's your first book, sure, price it at $50, $40, but increase your price thereon, because you know your worth and you have tested the waters now. Now it's actually time to jump into the game.
Right. Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Ishani. And we have a couple of questions coming up from the audience. I'll take those and then I'll actually open it for the audience as well. There's one very interesting question, which is about weaving storytelling into scientific topics like water conservation. So this is coming from Lavina, who's a member of Toastmasters Club of Storytellers, and she's a lot into climate change. She's a activist about climate change, and no wonder this question is coming from her. She wants to know whether it is possible to storyfy complex topics like climate change or water conservation to make it easier for the audience to digest those. I'll let any one of you take that question.
Okay, let me take a crack at it. So this question was from Lavina, is it?
Yes.
See, what I believe is the moment an author, or anyone for that matter, let's not label ourselves as authors and non-authors. Anyone who can storytell a problem and give a solution means that person has absolute clarity of the subject. So storytelling is basically a form in which you express yourself. That is secondary in my view. Once you have knowledge and clarity of the subject that you want to express yourself about, then you can choose a form. It can be a self-narrative form, it can be a fictional storytelling form, or it can be an informative way of writing a book. My personal style, at least that I've discovered in the process, is I enjoy storytelling more. I remember stuff that way, I express myself that way, and I have come to realize that the other person also remembers it that way. So I don't see any mental barrier, or rather any physical barrier to expressing any topic in a storytelling form. In fact, if anyone has read autobiography of Steve Jobs or Elon Musk or any of these books, they're fantastic storytellers. They have described the most complex subjects of building a rocket, talking about going to Mars, Monk Your Mind, Bhavya's book, all of that through storytelling. There's a uniqueness about how we perceive stories. Ultimately, all of us, when we talk about events, we always recite them as a story. So there is a way a memory connects, our mind connects to stories. So even if it's an environmental issue or as complex as sustainable development, zero carbon print, etc., all that can be conveyed through storytelling as long as the person has clarity of the subject.
Fantastic. Rohan, that's amazing way to put it. And basically, the key thing I gathered is that if you are able to convey it in the form of story, then that means you've understood the subject yourself very well. And only then can the person who's reading it will be able to understand it well. Amazing. And I have one final question, which is going to be a quick one. I think this is from Deeptendu, and he wants to know what is the total number of pages in all 5 books collectively. So maybe quick one for all of you, if you can remember.
For me,
I
it
know
was
Rohan's, I remember, actually.
120.
Sorry, 120?
Yeah.
120. And Rohan, is it 115 for you? If I remember.
116 for me.
116. Ishani?
I think my books are shorter, so combined, I think it would be 110, 115, all 3 books combined.
And
Okay,
I think
Very short and
Deeptendu-
sweet.
I think Deeptendu should remember that about my book because he was the writer of my book also.
Okay, we didn't know that. Okay, fantastic. So hopefully Deeptendu will be able to work backwards and prepare for writing his own book with that. Okay, we've had an amazing discussion, and now I would like, before I let you go, one final question that I want to ask on behalf of the audience, and I'll let each one of you answer that. And that is, what is one actionable suggestion you will have for our audience who are basically writers in the making? So one actionable suggestion from each one of you for our writers in the making.
For me, it's we are scared 90% of the time, but I think we gotta do it anyway. As Sheldon, as Missy Cooper says, that even if you're scared, just gotta be scared and just do it anyway, and just show up for the job. The rest will follow.
Be a part of Toastmasters. Write as many speeches as possible because that will trigger you, give you the thoughts and ideas. Because for me, that was a trigger which helped me and gave me that confidence that yes, I can think, I can create, and I can write.
Thank you. Rohan, what about you?
I want to distill it in one word. Make yourself accountable. And let's add another word to it. Make yourself publicly accountable. If I can just take 10 seconds to share my process, I had not written a single word, but I had committed to the world at large that I'm going to write a book. Once I had committed to the public at large, that's when I started writing the book. It was an extremely scary process. Let me tell you, there were self-doubt, prejudice, biases running from all corners. It was all in the mind. But once you've taken up a challenge and announced it to the world, there's no escape. So you have to sign a contract with yourself that you are going to write this book. And once you've done that, you make sure you don't breach that contract.
Wonderful, Rohan, you actually shared it in a very legal manner as well, actually, for all of us to remember. A commitment to one's own self, that you will publish it and make yourself publicly accountable. Okay, fantastic. I'll just prompt my audience, if there is any one question that you want to ask, this is your opportunity. Anyone can come forward and be in this, be spotlighted as well. We can take one question from the audience.
Can I ask a question, please?
Yeah, sure, Anusha, go for it.
Okay, my question is to Rohan Batra because his book is on self-improvement, and that's the niche area one normally targets. How much of your book had anecdotes to illustrate what you're talking about? Was it more theory or was it more anecdotes? Was there a balance?
Thank you, Nisha. I think you already know all my secrets, but here, in any case, I'll announce it here. So my book has 10 chapters. Each one of them has an anecdote to first explain the problem and then the solution which is there. I felt that we as human beings understand better with examples. So I've not laden it with too many examples and just given one anecdote per chapter.
anecdotes are self-created, or are they actual happenings?
They are 95% based on true events. I've had to change the names of characters and perhaps the scene for better reasons.
Great. Thank you, Anusha, for asking that brilliant question. It will definitely help all our audience as well. And thank you, Rohan, for being open and frank about it. Okay, we come to the close of this amazing panel discussion, and I thank each one of our panelists for taking out your precious time and being here with us. It really encourages, motivates, inspires our future writers. And I have full faith that we will take the learnings back and apply in our own journeys. Thank you once again. And with that, I would like to pass the virtual stage back to our Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much to our moderator, Toastmaster Mohit, and our Toastmaster Bhavya. You want to say something? You're on mute. All right, I'll take the stage from here. Thank you so much. In fact, thank you wouldn't just be enough here. We've got pages full of learnings here. And with that, we'd like to bring our prepared speech section and our panel discussion to a close. And
if I can just, so sorry, Toastmaster Deepti, I just wanted to thank all of you. Thank you, Shani. Thank you, Bhavya. Thank you, Toastmaster Mohit. Thank you, Toastmaster Deepti. And thank you for this opportunity to share all our lessons. And this has truly been a homecoming, and I love each and every one of the members here. And thank you, Anusha, for always grilling me.
Right. Thank you so much, Rohan. Any parting words, Shani and Toastmaster Bhavya?
Shani, please.
I was going to ask you to go first. I just wanted to thank you for having all of us here. I think we learn. I think I haven't learned this much from my fellow writers in a long time. So it's been a kick-ass session for me as well. And yeah, hoping our words keep on inspiring you.
Well, for me also, it was a good session because there were many things that I could learn from Ishani as well as from Rohan. And also some very interesting questions coming from Mohit Sahni, which triggered some new thoughts and some new hopes for me. Thank you very much for that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So before we move on to our next segment, I actually wanted to acknowledge presence of distinguished Toastmaster Raj Mehta, but I guess yeah, he enjoyed the panel discussion and he had engagements, so he's moved on. Nevertheless, thank you. While I introduce you to the next segment of the Toastmasters meeting, I'd like and encourage everybody to write 1 or 2 words about how they feel after the panel discussion today. So your time starts now. And dear panelists and Toastmaster Mohit, remember these words are power words for you. Awakened, inspired, perspicacious. Wow. These are words you can take back with you. All right, thank you everybody for participating in this mammoth event for the Toastmasters Club of Storytellers today. It really means a lot. Coming back to the theme of words having power. Well, there are times when we are in the midst of a crisis. So keeping your cool in that midst of the crisis and delivering thoughtful words can save you much anguish and pain. And it comes directly from my heart. Well, Rumi, the great poet, has given us a time-tested strategy to control our temper, to control our emotions when we want to deliver words. It's called the three-gate test. The three-gate test, the first step is when the wise people ask the first question, which is, if the message that they want to convey is true, if it holds a yes, then they go ahead and ask the second question, is it necessary? If it passes that test too, they go on to the third gate, which is called, is it kind? So this three-gate test ensures that you always deliver thoughtful and encouraging words, even in the midst of crisis. Remember, in 2008, presidential campaign of President Barack Obama, yes, we can. Those three words became a rallying cry for his supporters. This phrase was used to inspire hope and optimism and convey a sense of unity and shared purpose. With that, let's see what words can we use to inspire each other in the table topics or the impromptu section today. For that, I'd like to invite Toastmaster Rahul on the virtual podium to start the segment.
Thank you, Toastmaster Deepti. Am I audible?
Yes, Rahul, you're completely
right.
visible and audible.
Thank you. Thanks for confirming. So first of all, I would like to say, thanks to Mohit sir and everyone in the club for conducting this session. I think it was really an insightful session. Some wonderful tips shared by the panelists Bhavya sir, Ishani, and I forgot the name, Rohan, right? But definitely motivated me, to start writing. Maybe book at some time in future, but definitely, that is something I'm definitely going to do. Start writing for sure. And now, yeah, definitely let's come back to the table topic session. So table topic helps members, practice the art of improvisation, and also helps us think on our feet. This also helps develop four vital communication skills: listening, thinking, organizing, and delivering. And the topics that I have prepared for you will hopefully help all of us become better at improvisation. And in this sessions, members as well as guests will have an opportunity to practice their impromptu speaking. So I hope everyone gives this a shot. I may randomly call anyone to participate, or you can volunteer to come up on stage yourself by raising your hand. And before I begin, I think timer has shared the time allotted is 1 to 2 minutes for table topics. There is a grace period of 30 seconds on the upper side of the specified time limit. And I think, yeah, all right, let's begin. So first, who would like to first volunteer for table topic? Let me see who is raising the hands.
I can go.
Who is this?
Arjun.
Arjun Rao. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So Arjun, your topic is, why do we panic when our phones fall, but laugh when our friends do? Why do we panic when our mobiles fall, but laugh when our friends do?
And when our phones fall, but our friends do. Okay. Yes, it is. It is actually a very obvious thing. Why we panic when our phones fall, but friends, because see, friends, we don't really choose our friends, right? Like we didn't do research, we didn't like check their references, we didn't do police verification, we didn't check what they were going to be like, we didn't check their kundli, we didn't check their horoscope. We just accidentally we bumped into them someday, we liked a couple of things they said, and we just became friends. And when they fall, it's funny because we know they'll get up again. And even if they become permanently, like if some injury also happens, then it's even funnier. But a phone, like we put so much research into buying a phone. We put more research into buying a smartphone than we put into choosing a marriage partner in most cases. Represents what we like. Pardon? Am I audible? A phone represents what we think about ourselves. So when our phone gets a crack, it is a pan because it feels like something of us. It's the same reason why people don't care when they are developing a pot belly, but they get so offended when their car gets a dent. You know, like it's the same thing over there. Like friends are like not really extension. Friends are friends. They are themselves their own person. But a phone is an extension of our personality. That is why we panic when a phone falls, and we do so much research into it, and we do so much mata pichi over it. Mata pichi with a headache. It's an Indian word which really doesn't have an English translation. I'm sorry, but yeah. So that is why we panic when a phone falls. But it's funny when a friend falls.
Thank you so much, Arjun, for answering it. Although, there was some connectivity issue for maybe 5 or 10 seconds where we lost you, but yeah, we were able to understand what, uh, why, when we laugh when phones fall, when our friends fall, but why we not when our, phones fall. But yeah, thank you. Volunteer for the next topic.
Yeah, just to interrupt, I hope the speaker was able to see my screen.
Yes, we were.
Can I go overtime? I think I just made it.
You
Any
were fine.
volunteers? Is anyone raising their hand? Because I don't know, I'm not able to see.
Your topics are innovative. Can I try?
Yes, and who is this?
Anusha.
Anusha, sure. Okay, so topic for you is sword and words have the same letters. They have the same effect if not handled properly.
Swords
Sword
and
and
words are the
yeah,
same
over to
word.
you. Yeah.
Swords and words have the same alphabets, but the effect they can have is radically different. Well, let me begin with an example. The word WE and EW both have the same alphabets, we and you, but both have an absolutely diametrically different meaning when used in different combinations. We signifies unity, you signifies feeling sick, feeling repulsed, feeling negative. So words and swords are absolute armors in the hand of anybody who wants to utilize them effectively. Words can touch, words can move, and words can inhibit. Similarly, a sword can touch, a sword can inhibit, and a sword can take your life. Believe me, both of them are not interchangeable. They are two facets of the same coin. With your words, you can hit hard, and you can hit so hard that it hurts for life. I have a small example. There was this guy who was proposing to a girl, and he would continuously flash small messages of, "Will you marry me?" to her on a chat, but delete it immediately after. This became his habit. And when she actually wanted to say yes, she never said yes because she was not sure whether he was playing around with her or whether he was actually serious. And this I've heard from a real life example. So words and swords are things which are ammunition for you in nature. Keep them in the scabbard as you would keep a sword. Keep them in your mouth as you would keep a word. That's absolute temptation. Unleash them, let them out, and you can hit or you can heal. You can fit or you can feel. You can hurt or you can spurt. All of it lies in your hands. It's up to you to take the initiative, to use words and swords as soothing balms rather than hitting out hard to hurt anybody. Back to the table topics, Master.
Thank you, Toastmaster Anusha. All right, so next I need any volunteer from the guest. I can see Sumit raising hand. So, all right, so Sumit, topic for you is, if you were given a chance, sorry, is anyone saying something?
No, please go ahead.
Okay, okay. So topic is, if you were given a chance to be a woman for a day, what would you do and why?
First of all, thank you so much, Toastmaster Rahul Chawla, for giving me this topic. And if I would given me a chance to be a woman for one day, what I would do? Well, firstly, I would start with something which I love doing, and as a boy and as a man, and I don't think that it's particularly limited to doing specifically gender-wise. For example, playing cricket and doing things out of league, and climbing trees, and these are all stuff which I do and I love doing it, and not on a regular basis, but this is something which I have experienced in our society, and I don't know about whole of India, but at least Jaipur, I've seen like people playing cricket in every lane of place, in every now and then everyone is playing cricket, and not just cricket, football. But there's one thing which is common, that this group is full of one gender, that is men, that is male. So what I would, if I would be given a chance to be a woman for one day, I would rather go and play with those boys, and not considering them a different gender. I would consider sport as a sport. For example, if I love cricket, if I love hockey, if I love football, I love it because it's a game, and it triggers me. It gives me that satisfaction of winning. It gives me that satisfaction of achieving those standards. And this is something which I feel that there should be, but it's not happening. And a lot of times I've found some girls who are interested in some sports, and they like watching cricket. They like they have a bit of knowledge of cricket, but they hesitate to just play that game. They hesitate because they can't find anyone from their community or from other girls who are playing cricket, or anyone who could express themselves as they are. So if I would get a chance, and I would play this game, and not just cricket, football, and doing other activities and involving my other friends, and that would create ultimately a difference. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster. I think potential Toastmaster Sumit for answering this. Some great thoughts. Next, maybe, do I have the option to choose people? Maybe I would like Diptendu, Toastmaster Diptendu.
Toastmaster Rahul, yeah, we are at 5:05,
okay,
and we'd like to begin the general evaluation section.
Okay.
Your topics are very enticing, very thought-provoking, and we'd love to have more of them, but maybe in the next weekly meeting. I hope.
All right, that's fine. I
right.
have lot of topics available with me. Maybe next time I'll do this TTM, so I'll cover those topics.
Absolutely, we look forward to the TT session in the next meeting.
Sure, thank you.
Thank
Over to you,
you.
Toastmaster Dipti. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Rahul, and I think he deserves a very brilliant round of applause. All right, moving on to our last segment, which is the general evaluation segment. I will hold the fort for the general evaluation section in the absence of Toastmaster Lokesh. So to begin with, let me invite Toastmaster Diptendu on the virtual podium to share his evaluation for the panel discussion today. Timer, I hope you have the timing, the evaluation timings for Toastmaster Diptendu.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let us keep the evaluation time normal, 2 to 3 minutes.
Okay. Great. So Toastmaster Saurabh, Same evaluation timings, just like we have it for any other 5 to 7 minutes, each 2 to 3 minutes.
Okay, sure, we can do that. Yeah.
Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster Diptendu.
Thank you, Toastmaster Deepti. An idea. When Mohit said that he writes 750 words a day, that could have been a really good segue into the beginning of the panel discussion. Well, I write 750 words per day, haven't become an author yet. And here I have got 3 published authors whose brains we'll be picking today. So just an idea. So it was a fantastic panel discussion. First of all, panel discussion, the heart and soul of panel discussions are 2 actors. One is the moderator and second is the panel. The moderator played the role with perfection, and the panel members were highly qualified in their field. They knew what they were talking about and they had credibility because they were not mere authors whose work we were not aware of. We know about their work, so that added credibility to the panel itself that was present in today's panel discussion. So the moderator today started with the value proposition of the talk for the audience benefit. Although we know what the session is going to be about, it is going to be about how to become authors, the process of becoming an author, so on and so forth. But the moderator today laid out the precise benefits or the value proposition of the discussion that he is going to have. That's a fantastic way of beginning any session, even though we know what it is going to be about. So kudos to Mohit for a fantastic beginning. And then every prepared speech, every role that we do, if we are prepared for it beforehand, if we have done our homework, it adds 4 stars into our act, to our performance. And today Mohit demonstrated exactly that. So as the moderator, he did preparation in the form of dividing the entire talk into 5 segments. So that itself gave a lot of comfort to me as the audience, because I knew that this panel discussion will not lose track, that this panel discussion won't be haphazard, and there is going to be segment by segment attack vis-a-vis this particular discussion. All right, some recommendations for the moderator are: he started with, let me remind you all. Well, you don't need to remind, you need to introduce yourself. You are the host and the moderator. Another statement that I heard was, the reason we are having the panel discussion today, instead of stating out anything explicitly, you can just say with confidence that today we will be listening to published authors and learning some things from them. The transitions between each and every segment was done seamlessly by the moderator. Between segment 1 and 2, there was no audience interaction, but he did take care of audience interaction between segment 2 and 3. And after segment 3, he started taking questions from the chat. So whether it is physical interaction or using the chat, he involved the audience to the best of the ability, depending on the time he had at that point, at that moment in the talk. Also, the segments were so very well prepared. So the first segment was how to start writing a book, how did one get into writing, and the 5th pricing. So it was chronological and end to end told us the audience about the process of becoming an author and writing a book. All in all, the confidence, the stage presence demonstrated by the moderator today was excellent. The preparation was very good. It was cohesive and consistent right from the word go and till the last statement. If only he could be more confident every step of the way, especially while introducing it, especially during the introductory part of the speech of the performance, it would add even more flair and glamour to the entire thing. With that, I've handed back to the TMOD.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Diptendu, for that very clear and insightful evaluation for the panel discussion. It wasn't easy, I must say. I would like to now invite our table topic evaluator, Toastmaster Ankan, on the virtual podium for sharing his observations for the table topic speakers. Toastmaster Ankan.
Thank you, Toastmaster Deepti. First of all, congratulations to Toastmaster Rahul for hosting table topic session for the first time at Art Club Toastmasters Club of Storytellers, and articulating the purpose of table topic very well, which is listening, thinking, organizing, and delivering. Moving on to speakers, first speaker was Toastmaster Arjun. His topic was, why do we panic when our phones fall but laugh when our friends do? And Toastmaster Arjun started his take on his friends seems to be very natural, very genuine. It do appears that he was thinking about his friends while he was talking about friends. And his take on phone being an extension of personality is something new, which I heard and which I would agree with as well up to some extent. But one suggestion would be that I somewhere felt that his end was a bit abrupt, and maybe because of network connection, I wasn't able to listen at the end of his speech. So that's one suggestion from my end to him would be to make an end quite gradual and not end it abruptly. Second speaker was Toastmaster Anusha. Her topic was thoughts and words have same effect if not handled properly. And to be honest, it wasn't a table topic speech, it was a prepared speech in every sense. While listening to her, I just forgot to evaluate, and I don't think I'm even capable enough to evaluate her. So there's nothing for me to suggest her or say her. It was just perfect in every sense. Third speaker was Toastmaster Sumit. His topic was, if given a chance to be a woman for one day, what will you do? He also started quite confidently and fluently, and he knows very well what he was speaking. Just one suggestion that while talking about a woman, it would have been better if you would have talked in perspective through a perspective of a woman, because it appeared that you were still being a man while talking about a woman. So that's one little suggestion would be from my end. And overall, table topic session was quite wonderful, very innovative topic, very new topic. One suggestion at the end that if nobody is raising hand or showing willingness to come forward, then you can just call out one speaker, maybe experienced one or maybe a guest to participate in the speech. That's what one suggestion would be from my end in table topic session. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Ramkun, in your debut role as the table topic evaluator today. So a lot of firsts today. That's great. Now let's move on to our auxiliary role players. I'd like to invite our grammarian, Toastmaster Lavina, on the virtual podium to share her grammarian's report.
Thank you, Toastmaster Deepti. And I've been listening to through the meeting for the good usages and the not so good usages of English language. I find that specifically through the panel discussion, there are hardly any not so good usages of English language, and the whole time boxed panel discussion was filled with great words, great phrases. Whenever any of the authors were speaking, so authors means we are talking about some people who are distinguished, they have command over the language already. So that way, I think my role was totally wasted today. And just to point out the good usages when somebody was mentioning we test the waters, and also probably the moderator was mentioning we storify complex topics like climate change, and and we story tell a problem or a solution. And that was really very innovative use of the word story and storytelling. Then the authors multiple times I was amazed at their command over the language. And when somebody was saying different words, hope, optimism, shared success in getting to a goal, there I was really, it was a total motivational sentence about the writing, the process of writing the book. Then where in the evaluation section, where the evaluation was mentioning that the speaker was suggesting the speaker to be cohesive, consistent, so that to add flair and glamour to the whole time he has on the podium. Just to mention, for the not so good usages of English, I found really just two of them. So when we were talking about listen towards, I could not listen at the end of the speech. We could say I could not listen towards the end of the speech. And also when we were talking about your secret is shared with you're keeping the secret with us. We can say you're keeping the secret from us. That would be a better way of saying the sentence. I would also be posting the entire list over WhatsApp for future reference. Thank you, and over to you, Toastmaster Deepti.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Lavina. I'd like to now call upon our counter, Toastmaster Disha, on the virtual podium.
So here is my report for today's meeting. Toastmaster Lakshay used 5 times and 2 times. Toastmaster Deeptendu used 2 times and 1 time. Toastmaster Deepti used 2 times and 4 times. And Toastmaster Mohit used 10 times and 6 times. Toastmaster Rahul used 10 times, 1 time, and was used twice. Arjun used 2 times. Anusha used 2 times, and Sumit used 4 times and 1 time. Toastmaster Ankun used 12 times and 2 times. Toastmaster Lavina used 17 times and 13 times. So this was my report. One thing I want to say that generally we don't realize that we are using such words. So hope this report will help you to make your speech flow more smooth and effective. Thank you. And over to you.
PM Deepti, you are on mute.
Thank you for letting me know that, Toastmaster Saurabh. So thank you, Toastmaster Disha, for sharing your counter report. And we applaud you for your first attempt at the Toastmasters Club of Storytellers in that role. Kudos. Finally, Toastmaster Saurabh, it's your time to come on the virtual stage and share your timing report.
Yeah, thank you, Toastmaster Deepti. For the panel discussion, it lasted for a total of 42 minutes. I honestly didn't want to show the red card, actually. I wanted it to go on. But yeah, as my role required, I showed it. And so moving on to the table topics, Arjun's table topic speech lasted for 2 minutes, 2 seconds. Anusha was around 2 minutes, 8 seconds, and Sumit was 1 minute, 45 seconds. And in the evaluation section, Deeptendu was around 3 minutes, 45 seconds, overshooting the hard deadline of 3 minutes, 30 seconds. And for Ankan, it was 2 minutes, 35 seconds, well short of the 5 to 7 minutes. But I would say that there were very few table topics to cover in that, and being a new role as well, I think 5 to 7 minutes was a stretch anyway. So yeah, that's my evaluation. Over to you, Team Deepti.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Saurabh. Now let's move on to the fun part. Toastmaster Arjun, are you ready with your active listening test?
I had to, my role wasn't introduced at the beginning, no, I just ready.
Okay,
thought
so
there was,
do you have questions?
no, I did not, like I listened to everything, but I can't ask questions about activities.
No problems. Let me do the honors. All right, I have 2 questions for everybody. Except for Toastmaster Mohit and Toastmaster Deeptendu, I request you to refrain from answering. What was the name of the book authored by Toastmaster Bhavya? Name of the book authored by Toastmaster Bhavya.
Can I tell? I'm still.
No.
Okay.
No.
We have a couple of hands raised, Deepti. Saurabh and Rahul's hands are
Rahul,
raised.
okay, sure. So Toastmaster Rahul, I'll give this one to you.
I think Power of Self-Talk.
Bang on. Absolutely. That's great. You were totally an active listener today, Rahul.
Thank you.
Great job. My second question to everybody. In the final segment, when Toastmaster Mohit asked everybody to give actionable suggestions, does anybody, and this question is open for everybody, including Mohit and Diptendu, can anybody recall 2 out of those 3 actionable suggestions? 2 out of those 3 actionable suggestions. Diptendu, you can take a shot of it. I saw a
Yeah,
held
so
hand.
one is definitely Bhavya's suggestion of joining Toastmasters and being with Toastmasters, and Ishani's suggestion of valuing yourself, and like we are scared and we have to fight that scary feeling and move past it. So
Absolutely, you'd bang on. So very well done, Toastmaster Diptendu. So Ishani, basically, in the crux of it, she encouraged each of us to just stand up and show up, whatever our fears are. Toastmaster Bhavya encouraged everybody to deliver speeches at Toastmasters. That is where you sit down, you write, you reflect, and you introspect. And Toastmaster, or rather a veteran Toastmaster, Rohan, he encouraged everybody to be publicly accountable. So these were the 3 takeaways, practical suggestions and tips that our panelists shared with us today. With that, I end the active listening session and I come back in my role as a general evaluator. Well, I'll make it quick. We have had lots of good things today to take back home, especially from the panel discussion. So an applaud for you, Toastmaster Mohit, to having conducted and completed your level 5 of your pathway in a beautiful way. That is the kind of encouragement that Toastmasters give you. This is an ideal finale that we would have seen to a long drawn pathway. So kudos to you on that. A suggestion for the meeting as a whole. So this was the best part of the meeting. The suggestion of the meeting as a whole is that we started 5 minutes late, which only reflected a little unpreparedness on the part of the club. So it's a feedback to the ExCom. We need to be more prepared and also have backup role players ready for the main roles. The other roles can be picked up by the main role players. So in time of crisis, let's ensure that we have backup role players. Nevertheless, let's move on to the other role players of the meeting today. Table topic master, Toastmaster Rahul, I think very well shared or crafted topics. You already got feedback for being innovative and enticing and sharing enticing topics. So thank you for that. I wish we had more time so that even we could participate. For Toastmaster Ankan, in your role as a table topic evaluator, I would suggest that keep your evaluation short and crisp. 1 commendation, 1 recommendation. Deliver, and that's about it. Right? A lot of times, when you cover 1 commendation, 1 recommendation for 1 player, the others will follow the suit. So that's a takeaway. But thank you for picking it up. This is the first time, dear Toastmasters, that we are doing a tabletop with evaluation role in our meeting. So it takes guts and courage to be the first volunteer for playing up that role and setting a benchmark. So kudos to you, Toastmaster Ankan. We are very proud of you. Toastmaster Lavina, in your role as a grammarian, we loved the instances that you pointed out, both good usages and the not so good usages. However, my only recommendation is that when you're presenting a report, present your report. I saw a lot of background story being built in terms of panelists and how they were doing, what authors are. Let's just keep it to the point. What happens is when you give a detailed introduction or you build a story, you tend to sometimes lose the audience. So if you're giving a report, you're working as a reporter, just focus on the report and that will be it all. So thank you. And we'll wait for the detailed report on the WhatsApp group. In your role as a timer, Toastmaster Saurabh, you delivered it brilliantly well. I love the way you presented that Word document with the breakup of the timings. That shows your preparedness for your role, and handling a project like a panel discussion is not easy. You seamlessly delivered your cards, or you showed the cards on the screen. And not only that, I also noticed that you were sharing the card, the green, red, and yellow messages in the correct order on chat as well, just so that nobody misses it. So brilliant work at that. A suggestion to you is that in your finale report, you could probably, if I'm sure you would be maintaining it either in an Excel or in your notepad, you can click a picture, share it here, share your screen, and share the report. So because words, pictures speak louder than words. So looking at numbers would make people retain the timings more. So, but great job at timing. Toastmaster Disha, congratulations on your role today. A very detailed report is what you called out for. But my suggestion to you is just the same as that I gave for the timer today. Visual reports for our counters and for timers are more appealing than verbal, because we tend to forget the numbers. So that is my only recommendation. With that, I bring the general evaluation section to a close. All in all, a brilliant meeting, lots of takeaways and learning, especially for us as storytellers. Let's continue writing, let's continue growing. And now I hand over the stage back to Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Deepti, for a quick close. So dear friends, I would like to pause for a minute and also welcome Toastmaster Sakshi. She's our area director. Welcome to our meeting, Sakshi. I've seen that you logged in pretty long back, but we couldn't acknowledge your presence there. So the stage is yours. How did you feel about the meeting today? Just a quick recap.
Thank you.
Words.
Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. Thank you so much, everyone, for having me. It's been a great pleasure of being a part of this meeting. And I thoroughly enjoyed the panel discussion, but unfortunately, I joined a little bit late, and I apologize and regret for that. And I really love the high energy of your club. You guys are really doing great. And I would also like to congratulate Toastmaster Mohit for completing his level 5. And I would also like to congratulate Mohit since he is going to represent the area F on district level. And I believe you all are really doing good. So let's give a huge round of applause to yourself. It is really, really amazing to be here. Thank you so much. The virtual stage is back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Sakshi. Those words are very encouraging, and words have power is the theme of the day today. With that, I launched the polls for the table topic section. So we had 3 speakers. And like always, the poll will list out numbers, speaker 1, speaker 2, speaker 3, and on the chat, I will list the names of speaker 1, 2, and 3. Feel free to choose your favorite speakers. So speaker 1 was Toastmaster Arjun. Speaker 2 was Toastmaster Anusha. And speaker 3 was Samir. Oh, Sumit. Sorry. Sumit Ahir. Timer, can you confirm this was the correct order and these were the table topic speakers, right? I'm not missing anybody.
Yeah, so there were 3 table topic speakers.
Yes,
That's the correct order.
Yes, great. Thank you for confirming. All right, I have my polls. Thank you. I end in 3, 2, 1. Okay. Doing a quick close to our meeting today, I would like to share a poem by Emily Dickinson, which highlights the impact of words. The words of the poem go something like this: words are like leaves, and where they're most abound, much fruit of sense beneath is rarely found. This poem suggests that just as leaves on a tree are abundant, but a lack of substance, or so to say, words are abundant, but words which do not carry much meaning or sense are worthless. It implies that one should not focus only on the abundance of words, like leaves on a tree, but rather on the substance behind them. With today's meeting, I urge all of you to reflect on the words that you want to speak to the world. Use the 3 gates and enjoy a life of freedom and fun. Thank you. And with that, I hand it over back to our presiding officer for today, Toastmaster Diptendu.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day, Deepti. Also, I'd also like to thank General Evaluator for the day, Toastmaster Deepti. And last but not the least, I'll just thank the active listener for the day, Toastmaster Deepti. And this really goes to show that we wear so many hats here at Toastmasters. We do it with a smile, and every time such an occasion arises when one person ends up playing many different roles at the 11th hour, I'm sure we go back home and are actually able to extract some learnings from this experience. But of course, the lesson for EC team here is to plan the meetings better and to have backup role players so that one person is not overburdened with too many roles, and that is why we have got dedicated role players. So all in all, a fantastic session today. It was a great insightful theme of the day by TMOD Deepti, and of course the marquee event for today's meeting was the panel discussion conducted by Toastmaster Mohit Sani. Let us unmute ourselves and congratulate Mohit for completing level 5. And
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Toastmaster Mohit is the first level 5 of Toastmasters Club of Storytellers, so he is leading the pack. And Toastmaster Mohit, very quickly, if you can tell us how much time did it take for you to complete all the 5 levels?
It's taken me quite a while, actually. I think it's over a year. And
Over
I'm
a
very
year.
slow at it. I enjoy my projects. I'm like mule over it. I keep on doing it. I'm not a very best example, but I think anyone can finish it in 6 months if you are dedicatedly following the journey.
Yes, to complete it in 6 months, one would need to be working on level 5 project right from day 1, because there are some leadership related projects which require a few weeks or a few months. So great job done, Toastmaster Mohit. And let us now get to the best table topic speaker for today's meeting. There were multiple speakers who spoke today, who fielded Toastmaster Rahul's insightful and quirky and witty table topics. So whom do you think was the best table topics for today's meeting?
Arjun.
Was it Arjun?
I wasn't
Or was
audible for half the time. I think
Or
Anusha.
was it someone else whose name starts
Anusha.
with A?
Anusha.
Yes, absolutely. So today's best table topic speaker was Toastmaster Anusha. A round of applause for her. And a quick round of announcements. On 15th of April, we will be having Eloquence, which is a division level conference. We would be witnessing division level international speech contest and division level table topic speech contest at Eloquence. And Deepti, what was the other division level conference that is happening? It starts with H.
Harmony, I think it is.
It is Harmony.
Yeah.
So, and what is the date when Harmony is getting conducted?
16th April. Sunday.
16th April. So your weekend is set. 15th April, it's Eloquence, and on 16th April, it's Harmony time. So you can visit these division conferences and listen to the best speakers of that particular division. And with that, I would just like to take feedback from guest Sumit. Sumit, how was your experience? How did you like today's meeting?
Well, first of all, it was great experience, and I wouldn't give like a feedback of a guest. I'm already a Toastmaster, so I would like to give feedback as a Toastmaster from another group. Well, first of all, I like the way you people handle bloopers of one another, and it's part of learning process. We all make mistakes, but the way other person take responsibility and not let the quality of meeting dilute, it was really commendable. And the way the speaker too in table topic gave her elaborate her topic for a moment I forgot that she was speaking as a table topic. I thought it was a prepared speech. It was of that quality. And another thing which I really liked about your club is this table topic evaluator. Well, I didn't heard of this term before, and today only we had a physical meeting. So this is something which I would like to steal, and I guess you people won't mind that.
Absolutely.
That's it. And the way you people are organizing this online meeting and the quality of this meeting throughout is remarkable. And organizing an online meeting for this long, it's not an easy task. So yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Sumit. Very glad that you enjoyed. And of course, Sakshi, thank you so much for being a part of this meeting. It is really a matter of honor for us that you took time and you are still with us. I really hope that you enjoyed the meeting. With that, I would like to congratulate and thank everyone once again for a successful meeting, for a very fruitful meeting. And I wish you all the very best for the next 6 hours because, you know, tomorrow it's Monday. All right. With that, we can close the meeting. Stop the recording.
Yes.